Thursday night in the Mountain West, and we welcome you to Bulldog Stadium here in Fresno, California. The Fresno State Bulldogs play host to the Nevada Wolfpack. A very pleasant good evening to you. Glad to have you along, my cousins, with former UCLA and NFL quarterback Tom Ramsey. Well, it's a bit of an uphill climb for both of these teams at this point, with Fresno State at 2-6, 1-4 in conference play, and Nevada at 4-4 and 2-2 in the West Division. Everybody trying to catch San Diego State.
Well, they are. The Aztecs are playing really well right now, and between Nevada and Fresno State, there's no love lost. Of course, Fresno State winning the last three over the last 3 years, and so this game becomes pretty important when you start looking at, hey, can we get to a bowl game or not? And
the climb becomes much more difficult with the fourth-string quarterback Kilton Anderson for Fresno State, but he's got some help with his running back Martez Waller.
Yeah, Kilton Anderson getting his fourth start of the year as well. He had a rough outing the last time out against Air Force, throwing at a 35% clip, so they want to get him on track tonight. He's both a runner and a passer, and he had a good game a couple weeks ago against UNLV. It was a big win for them, and of course, Martez Waller, one of the top backs in the conference right here, snapping off a 38-yard winner against the Rebels of UNLV, and I expect him to get the ball quite a bit tonight.
Nevada has no trouble in the backfield with the duo of Don Jackson and James Butler.
No, they complement each other very well. Don Jackson, the senior, James Butler, of course, a sophomore. He rushed for 134 yards the last time out against Hawaii, and these guys want to wear down that Fresno State defense. They'll both come and hit you in the mouth. They're both really effective runners. They'll hit the hole hard, and I expect them to get a lot of carries tonight.
Third year at the helm for their head coach, Brian Polian, the 40-year-old who grew up in Buffalo, New York, has worked under Charlie Weiss, Jim Harbaugh, David Shaw, Kevin Sumlin, and on the other side, 3+ seasons in, is Tim DeRuyter, 1985 graduate of the Air Force Academy, where he played linebacker, 28-20 in his tenure at Fresno State. Nevada set to kick it away. They won the toss and chose to defer. Brent Zuzo lets it fly. Here comes Fresno State. Damari Scott on the kickoff return. And down he goes past the 40-yard line. Nice way to get things going for the Bulldogs.
Nice way to jumpstart your offense, too. Give them good field position.
For the redshirt freshman, Kilton Anderson from Naples, Florida, as you said, making his fourth career start today.
Getting final instructions from offensive coordinator Dave Schramm. And, of course, Dave Schramm does not script plays. He just gets a feel for the game coming out. Saw the numbers on Kilton Anderson and expect him to control the ball in the offense tonight.
Jameer Jordan in motion on the first play. Here's Waller on the left side, lowers his shoulder, and is brought down across the 45 by the middle linebacker, Jordan Dobrich.
And it's no secret, they want to get Martez Waller the ball early and often. They want to get him untracked. He had a big run. Of course, both teams coming off bye weeks, and last time out against Air Force, Martez Waller had a 64-yard run in the first quarter for a touchdown.
The entire game, just 10 carries and 80 yards for Waller. Through the middle, second effort, and powers his way across the 50-yard line. 2 carries, and it's a first down.
Yeah, and what ended up happening against Air Force, Fresno State ran the ball so well in that first quarter. Of course, Fresno State going up tempo right now. Come to that point in a moment.
And then a flag comes in from the backside of the play.
But Waller was so effective.
Ball start, number 77, offense. 5-yard penalty, first down.
He was so effective, Mike, in the first quarter. Air Force elected to really confront them with an 8-man front and said, hey, you're not going to run on us. We're going to let Kilton Anderson throw it. And Kilton Anderson was just ineffective and couldn't get the ball down the field. And they had a tough time getting out to a 14-0 lead, and then they gave up 42 straight to the Falcons.
And no surprise to see defenses push up and load the box against Anderson in a Fresno State offense that has had a lot of trouble moving the ball, whether it's through the air or on the ground. And Anderson goes down. Taken to the ground by Matthew Lyons with nowhere to throw the ball.
Matt Lyons is the guy they don't have anyone accounted for. He's a free rusher, comes off the edge, and he just does a nice job keeping leverage outside, bringing Kilton Anderson down. It's a nice look right there. Number 9, Matt Lyons, the second leading tackler on that Wolfpack defense.
On a second down and 18, Anderson is hit. The ball is loose, and it's locked.
That's a remarkable play. Not only did Matt Lyons make a great play, Ian Seau, who is coming off being the Mountain West Conference Defensive Player of the Week, he comes unblocked and just rakes the ball out of Kilton Anderson's hands, and then it's a mad scramble. And who's there? The unaccounted for defender again. No blocking on Matt Lyons, comes and scoops it. Scoop and score for the Wolfpack.
Kilton Anderson for Fresno State makes it 7-0 Nevada. Not even 2 minutes into this one here at Fresno State. The Bulldogs come in at 2-6 in need of a win to keep their bowl hopes alive. And without the Nevada offense taking the field, the Wolfpack, Brent Zuzo set to kick it away. Damari Scott and Malik Meisenheimer are back to receive. Scott took it out on the last try, and this time takes a knee in the end zone, so they'll come out 1st and 10 at the 25-yard line for Fresno State. Well, part of the game plan this week for Fresno State is really to try and develop a running game with Kilton Anderson, who comes in, the redshirt freshman, in just his 4th career start. 26 carries, 75 yards. They drop him back after a penalty and then a sack of 3 yards. And it ended up being 7 points for Nevada. Trying to turn things to the right side. And it's Martez Waller, shelled by Damian Baber and Lenny Jones from the defensive line. Waller comes into the game needing just 152 yards to be the 5th Fresno State player to reach 3,000 for his career. School's all-time leading rusher. Here's Robbie Rouse. Third and 4 here for Waller and Anderson. Try and use that offensive line to push his way through. Extra effort, he stretches, and the initial spot looks like a first down for Fresno State. Talking with their staff yesterday, they said it's going to be the type of night where Waller's going to have 25-plus carries in order to make it a successful one, with their pass game not being exactly where they'd want it. Total offense, measuring how many yards they produce per game, just under 300, which comes in 123rd in the country out of 127 teams. Waller through the whole left side. Lowers his shoulder, keeps pounding, back-to-back carries and back-to-back first downs for Waller and Fresno State. Pickup of 12 for the senior. We apologize for the audio technical difficulties we're having here tonight in Fresno State, but glad to have you along nevertheless as Fresno State matches up with Nevada here at home. Back-to-back big carries by Waller, and he's spelled by Dustin Garrison. This pass is tipped and incomplete. Patrick Chowdo along the defensive line got his hand on it, and not two complete drives in. That highlights how difficult it's going to be for Fresno State to move the ball through the air tonight. Anderson comes in completing just 47% of his passes, 1 touchdown and 4 interceptions for a guy who started the year 4th on the depth chart at quarterback this year. Their first 2 options went down with season-ending injuries, and Zach Greenlee, the sophomore behind him at number 2 on the depth chart,
the game clock in the south end zone
ruled not to be the better option at this point compared to Anderson, a guy who they say has a very vibrant attitude about him and really inspires confidence in the rest of his teammates. And it's been interesting for Fresno State, a team that has been very successful over the last several years, that the energy and attitude around this football team is still exceedingly positive despite being 4 games under 500 this late in the season. Second down after the incomplete pass, dumping it out to the flat and nowhere to go with it. Chad Olson, the tight end, makes the catch and is immediately cut down by Elijah Mitchell, the junior quarterback from Corona, California. Gonna have to make quick throws with Anderson, who still has a long way to go on his decision making. He's a young guy. Olson with his 11th catch of the year sets him back 2 yards, so it's 3rd down and 12.
Check.
Defensive line spread wide, expecting the pass. The Wolfpack brings 6. Anderson takes off and trips his way across the 50-yard line. Asani Rufus, the safety, lowered his shoulder to trip him up, and it's 4th down. So the offense comes off the field for Fresno State. 2 drives, 1 a fumble that led to a touchdown recovery by Nevada. And now Andrew Selledge back deep to receive the punt from Garrett Swanson. Selledge back at his own 10-yard line. Swanson about a 42-yard average on those kicks this year. Fair catch is signaled for, and it takes a hop inside the 5-yard line where it's recovered by Fresno State. Michael Martins gets a hand on it. Nevada up 7. Offense coming up.
Brought to you by Nissan, premier partner of the Heisman Trophy.
Welcome back to Fresno, California. Mike Cousins and Tom Ramsey, glad to have you along here as the Nevada offense takes the field for the first time tonight. Tyler Stewart in the trademark pistol, joined by Don Jackson. Nice special teams to set them back deep in their own territory. Flag comes in as Jackson takes the carry to the left side and is stopped by Jeff Camilli.
Looks like right in the area of a hold there, Mike, and
holding.
that flag came out quick.
Offense, half the distance to the goal. Replay, 1st down.
That's on the right guard, Jeremy McCauley. Our referee tonight is Alan Eck. So a little bit of choppy waters here for Tyler Stewart, the junior here from California, who takes the reins following some very successful quarterbacks at Nevada.
Yeah, you know, when you say choppy waters, he's only thrown 4 interceptions on the year, but you know, when you follow guys that did such Herculean things at the position at the same school, it's almost like they dwarf you.
Trying to stretch that ball out across the goal line, and the spot is at the half-yard line. Claudel Lewis claws his way through the defense, and Jackson just gets the ball across the plane.
Yeah, Claudel Lewis has made 5 tackles for loss coming into the game, and you see he makes the hit on Don Jackson right at the goal line, and somehow Jackson's able to get the ball just outside to the half-yard line.
Could be a good first stand here for the Fresno State defense. It gives up better than 400 yards a game. Another run left side, and it gains them a yard, maybe two. Jeff Camilli in there again, and it'll buy them just enough room to breathe here back in their own territory.
Yeah, you almost have to throw it in this instance, but Tyler Stewart, he's not an accomplished throwing quarterback. You'd much rather have him run. Right now, you have Nick Toth, the defensive coordinator for Fresno State. I'm sure he's thinking about bringing some heat and just make Tyler Stewart that much more uncomfortable trying to throw off his own goal line.
Bulldogs allowing 52% of conversions on third down, but a safe play is a run, and it's out across the 5-yard line. So just past that original line of scrimmage, and they'll bring on the punt team here back deep.
Yeah, they really kind of stacked the box that time, Mike. One of the guys in on the play, Tyquan Glass, the corner, since they didn't have a lot of receivers in the formation that time, he came off the edge unblocked and made the hit in the backfield.
Damari Scott back to return. He's at the 50-yard line. And Alex Boy is the punter with about half a checkered square to spare in the back of the end zone. And a tumbling kicks. Takes a Wolfpack bounce. All the way back to the 40-yard line. Now pinned back at the 5-yard line. Nice kick by Boy, the junior from Long Beach, California. Lets it fly for 53 yards, and it's still a one-score game here in the first quarter. Monday of this week, a Fresno State freshman football player was arrested in connection with the posting of a threat to social media expressing an intent to, quote, release my frustrations with gunfire on campus. Chris Pryor, a walk-on, was charged with making a criminal threat. Released from jail on $20,000 bond. Tuesday, the university announced Pryor had been banned from campus. This is the statement that head coach Tim DeRuyter made, and a November 17th court date has been scheduled following the incident. 7-0 Nevada with the lead. And Anderson gives it up on the run. Jordan Dobrich first to get the hit on Martez Waller. And if you're Fresno State, this is exactly what you've got to expect from Nevada. Play the run first, second, and third.
Yeah, Nevada can take the blueprint from Fresno State's last game against Air Force, in which they just said, listen, we're going to stop the run. We are going to stop you in your tracks, and we're going to make you throw the ball. And that's exactly what they're doing right now. Scott Boone, the defensive coordinator of Nevada.
Anderson on the keeper. Spins his way up to the 44-yard line.
What's interesting, Mike, you know, on Nevada's punt, I thought Damari Scott should have caught the ball, and it would have given them an additional 15 yards. It's when you let those short punts hit the ground, they would have had it on the plus side of the 50. So now you have a little longer third down than you'd like. You know, 3rd and 6. You'd love to have a 3rd and 3 for Kilton Anderson, but a 3rd and 6, you got to throw the ball here.
And look how many guys they have stacked up right by the line of scrimmage. Only one guy playing back deep. Waller churns his way to the 48-yard line. Lenny Jones meets him and brings him down, but he comes up 2 yards shy of the first down marker.
Yeah, but they got to punt it away, and that was the problem. Again, the last time they came out to play, they were only 2 of 12 on third down. They've struggled offensively. They just haven't gotten enough first downs and
haven't been able to hold on to the ball that much either. Lenny Jones right now, the defensive end, senior from California, is down on the field for Nevada. To the point you were making, though, Tom, is that you look back at the last game that they played against Air Force, and the Falcons held the ball for almost 3/4 of that game. Lenny Jones, the injured player, down right now for Nevada. Feet and Tim DeRuyter's squad looking for their 3rd win of the year, coming in at 2-6. But it's a 4th down and 2 for Fresno State. Garrett Swanson coming on to punt. Andrew Sellis is the return man, standing at the 10-yard line. Nice kick and a fair catch signaled for, and the ball tumbles into the end zone. A 52-yard kick from Swanson. A big week for College Game Day, built by the Home Depot, heading back to Tuscaloosa. Big matchup between undefeated LSU and the 7-1 Crimson Tide. It all starts Saturday, 9 Eastern on ESPN. Also streaming live on Watch ESPN. Third straight LSU-Bama game that Game Day has been to. No surprise, of course, that's the game to see.
No surprise at all. And here's my guess is Alabama got a head start last year when they held Leonard Fournette to 70-plus yards, and I think they're going to do it again. I think that Bama defense is awfully good, Mike.
I like it. Like to see them in the top 4 of the college football playoff rankings this week. First down, Butler goes to the left side and gets a yard, maybe 2. Let's take a look at this week's college football playoff rankings, brought to you by Allstate. You agree with the top 4 here?
Well, they were released this week. I'm always gonna disagree a little bit, just for the fun of it. But yeah, I'm glad they've released the rankings. A lot of people don't care about them, and I think they're going to change quite a bit come next week.
But just ask an Ohio State fan, right? Toss out to Butler. He's met by a trio of defenders right at the first down marker. It'll be a close spot, initially looking about a half-yard shot.
Tell you the people you don't want to ask are the people at 5, 6, 7, 8,
right,
9, 10.
Right.
Because then you're going to get an earful, right? Notre Dame, Baylor, TCU. Like, what the heck? Where are we?
Baylor fans probably continuing to chant on that warpath tonight after a nice offensive showing.
And what about Michigan State, right? I mean, if anyone's deserving, they're going to get a shot at Ohio State, so they're okay.
Third down and 1 for Nevada. Late decision there, and it hurts him. Butler stopped by Todd Hunt with penetration for a loss of a yard, and that's something that the coaching staff talked to us about.
Absolutely. Nick Toth felt that the quarterback, Tyler Stewart, was a little indecisive if they gave him a gray read, and right there, he doesn't pull it from the running back, and boy, they just stoned the running back in the backfield. That's a great defensive stand that time by the Bulldog defense.
And Stewart still a ways to go with his decision-making, as we've discussed. On the converse side with Kilton Anderson, Stewart, the quarterback, came in as the only player on the roster to have thrown a college pass this year. Damari Scott in traffic, this time elects to grab the ball. It'll be a first down for Fresno State at the 31-yard line, down by 7 here at home. College football playoff ranking for week 1, and we've got another big college football Saturday ahead of us this weekend. It's time for Watch ESPN all Saturday. Stream every game live, download the app, or go to watchespn.com. Anderson out of the shotgun with 3 wide receivers, and flags come immediately as the ball is snapped.
That's 5-yard penalty. First down.
And the false start called against the left guard, Aaron Mitchell, the sophomore from San Diego. A rarity for Fresno State, which averages just over 4 penalties a game, 8th fewest in the FBS.
Yeah, you know, that's a remarkable stat too. If you're losing a lot of games, you'd think a lot of penalties, but they're very disciplined. There's just not a lot of penalties per game.
That was already their second tonight. Waller sneaks through the middle. Gets the ball to the 29-yard line. Corey Rush, the freshman from Salt Lake City, the first one there.
But when you do have a penalty before first down, then you start a young quarterback off 1st and 15. You just keep adding kind of bricks to his backpack, and you know, it's just not a lot of fun. They have to get Martez Waller untracked. I think you have to throw the short to medium throws. You got to somehow find your tight end, Chad Olson, or at least another guy we haven't heard about is Jameer Jordan tonight.
Their top option at receiver, good pocket, and a throw over the middle is too long. Trying to hit Jordan, and it's over his head.
Well, they talked about getting the ball to Jordan. Tim DeRuyter told us yesterday in meetings, he said, he's a guy that, he can break a game open. So you have to find multiple ways to get Jameer Jordan the ball. This time I like it. They take a shot deep. He's running right down the middle of the field. He's not looking at the ball right away, though, Mike. And when you're not looking for the ball, you're never going to catch it. Kilton Anderson just a little off target as well.
Fresno State 1 of 3 on third down tonight.
Delay a game, offense, 5-yard penalty.
And a delay a game call there. So you talked about that, Tom. Getting that early penalty, then a long throw and an incompletion. There's probably a lot going through Kilton Anderson's mind right now, just trying to get the offense in gear.
Yeah, there's a lot going through his mind because he wants to be Peyton Manning, but he's a long ways away from Peyton Manning. And, especially when you're taking delays at the line of scrimmage.
And it's 17 for a first down. Pressure comes from the backside. Anderson tucks it and just gets what he can.
There might be a flag.
Not near the 40, pushed out by Jordan Dobrich.
He got rolled up into the sideline.
And he gets 14 yards there on the run.
And talking to Dave Schramm, the offensive coordinator, Kilton Anderson's really good in the film room. They didn't really hit him too bad out of bounds. They got out of his way. But what I was saying, Mike, is, it's the translation from the film room back to the field. And that's where a young quarterback, as he's consoled somewhat on the sideline by Dave Schramm, it's at making that translation back to the field.
Sellis at the 11-yard line makes the catch. And a punt of 50 yards will bring the Wolfpack offense back onto the field. Scoring about 26 points a game, which puts him 9th in the Mountain West. It's an offense, though, as we talked about right off the top of the show, with 2 good running backs and a young quarterback in Tyler Stewart. Only start prior to this year for him was against Hawaii in 2013. So it's building upward for Nevada and head coach Brian Polian and their offensive coordinator Nick Rolovich. The Bulldogs had that snuffed out on the run from Don Jackson. Adro Ederaine getting his helmet in there, the team's leading tackler.
Ederaine's really having a nice season. Senior from Corona, very active off the edge. And taking a look at Nevada's offense, FBS 24th ranked rush offense, 212 yards a game, and that's really all in part to Don Jackson and James Butler. They are really effective, but you have to have that third spoke of the wheel, which is the quarterback running.
Pressure, a nice job to avoid it, and a throw back to the line of scrimmage, caught by Richardson, who was the motion man preceding the play, and he uses his speed to pick up a few yards before Tobena Okeke wraps him up.
And Richardson, of course, the leading receiver for Nevada, but I thought Tyler Stewart did a nice job that time extending the play. He kept his eyes down the field, and I thought he was going to tuck it and go, but he stayed with Richardson.
Third down and 4 for Nevada. Henderson in motion. Stewart now flushed out of the pocket. Got to get rid of it, and he drops it off. Out of bounds at the 30-yard line. First down catch by Henderson. Their first down.
Hassan Henderson, 6'5", 220 out of Las Vegas High. He's a big target. And again, Tyler Stewart extending the play and using his legs, getting outside the pocket. Nick Rolovich, really,
that's the end of the first quarter.
Really likes Stewart's athleticism.
7-0 the Wolfpack with the lead on the road here. After one quarter, the offenses have not gotten going yet. It was a fumble forced on defense by Ian Seau, picked up by Matthew Lyons, who took it 30 yards. And it's a one-score game, 15 minutes in. Ready for the start of the second quarter here in Fresno, California. 7-0 lead for Nevada on the road, trying to snap a 3-game slide against this Fresno State team. First down and 10. James Butler reverses course, nowhere to go with it. Good job of second pursuit there by the second layer of defense from the Bulldogs.
Really good play by Claudell Lewis, the defensive end, as well, striking James Butler in the backfield. And you know, again, that Fresno State defense, they want to stop the run and they want to make Tyler Stewart, the quarterback, throw it. And that's where this game gets interesting, because the chess match going on between the coordinators. If you're Nick Rolovich, the offensive coordinator for Nevada, you want to throw one down the field here pretty soon.
Second down, and Orine giving chase. And it's Jackson. There's late flags that come in as well at the end of the play.
Nevada tried to set up a screen, and I think one of the offensive linemen is going to get tagged for a hold. Again, Stewart rolling out of the pocket and just tried to extend the play, but Ed Orine right on his tail.
Ineligible receiver downfield. Number 72 offense. 5-yard penalty. It's second down.
Yeah, so we have an ineligible receiver down the field. Jeremy McCauley may have got flagged there, but anytime you set up a screen, the linemen are told where they're told, you know, they kind of have the internal clock and they just feel like, hey, it's time to go, but it wasn't, and they got flagged for it.
Second down at 14. 4-man rush from Fresno State. Pass to the perimeter, caught by Wyatt Demps, his 21st catch of the year. And Jamal Ellis is quickly there to hop on his back.
Ellis doing a good job there, but I think Ellis should almost close a little quicker and, you know, put a little pressure on the receivers. Play him a little tighter, because you know Tyler Stewart's not an accomplished thrower. You might even get an interception or a tip ball. Something might happen. And I think Nick Toth, the defensive coordinator, wants those guys to play with a little more fury and take a few more chances.
And a chance to get off the field here. They've got pressure. A flag flies as the throw is intercepted. Bulldogs have it, and here they come. They had gone 5 games without an interception, and the streak comes to an end in the hands of Tyquan Glass.
Mike, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Number 77, offense. The penalty is declined. The play resulted in an interception. First down, Fresno State.
We're going to have a chop block that's going to be, it's going to end up being declined. But here is what they do. James Bailey, 24, comes off the edge, right side of your screen, and he just blows up Tyler Stewart, gets him into a bad throw, and then Tyquan Glass right there making the play. And just a great play that time by Glass, who was staying very close to the receiver and comes down with it, and then just has a great return on top of that.
Their first interception since September 19th against Utah sets them up with great field position. And the ground game keeps on turning. Dustin Garrison, the transfer from West Virginia, sets him up in the red zone.
Well, they have finally gotten some good field position, and it really credit the defense and Nick Toth bringing a lot more pressure that time and people off the edge of the formation, off the slot, and Garrison giving Martez Waller a little breather.
Garrison stays in the game and is quickly swallowed up. Backwards about 2 yards. Lenny Jones coming up on the help again.
And Garrison himself had a 60-yard run for a touchdown against Air Force in that first quarter against the Falcons. Played in Colorado Springs, and you know, that was just a game that, you know, they had come off a win with UNLV. They were looking for a back-to-back win, and then they just faltered. They just faltered against the Falcons.
It's a tough offense to stop. 3rd and 3. They fake the run. They throw the short pass, and they have the completion to Malik Meisenheimer, his 5th catch of the year for the 3rd-string running back. Caught the defense off guard.
And Meisenheimer is one of the captains. He's a big, strong dude. 6 foot, 240 pounder, and they end up running a little bit of a play action. Meisenheimer just out in the flat, and you know, it's just a great call by Dave Schramm that time, because you get the ball out quick enough, you're not going to take a sack, and Meisenheimer does a nice job catching it, turning it up the field.
Inside the red zone, they fake the run again. Flip it to the other side. Dobrich comes up to make the tackle on Meisenheimer.
Well, that's what you get when you play a great linebacker. Jordan Dobrich, one of the brightest Nevada players, an academic, all-conference player, just a really heady guy, high football IQ there to make the stop. And of course, you know, he's a senior, so he's been on a lot of tackles, and he's the 3rd leading tackler for Nevada this year.
Mechanical engineering major, 6 tackles already. Swing this out to the left side. The wide receiver, Jameer Jordan, lowers his shoulder and takes it inside the 10-yard line.
Jameer Jordan, finally, you know, they get him in space, and I think that's the key, is just unleashing his potential, and just a great play that time up the sideline, 1st down, or 3rd down, sorry.
And quick to the line of scrimmage, Anderson bounces a pass intended for Josiah Blandon.
And that was so crucial. It's a 3rd and 1, and Anderson, yeah, he just, I think it almost like he burned the ball.
4th down and 1, and the field goal unit comes onto the team for an offense that has only scored 72% of the time in the red zone, 8th lowest in FBS. The crowd not happy with the decision to bring on the field goal unit. Cody Croning for a 25-yard try. Got it. And the Bulldogs are on the board. 7-3, so they get their first points off their first interception in 6 games. Nick Toth, the defensive coordinator, dialing up the pressure. Tyquan Glass coming up big. Quarter in Fresno, California. Be on the lookout for the Taco Bell student section and passionate fans like these at games all season long. Go to ESPN.com/Taco Bell and learn how you can get to the college football playoff. I'm not a West Coast guy like you, Tom. Is this a little bit of an unseasonably chilly night here in Fresno?
Anything under 70 is chilly in California. You know that. Come on.
Coming into the parking lot and seeing the attendants with scarves and hats. Come on now. Drive ends with 3 points for Fresno State. And on the return, it's out across the 20-yard line for Elijah Mitchell.
You know me, Mike. It's all about shorts and flip-flops.
Right, that's the way to live life. When we spoke with Nick Rolovich, the offensive coordinator for Nevada earlier this week, they had come into this game being held scoreless in the first quarter in the last 4 games. To use the word he did, he said his offensive play calling was too exotic. Now, the defense ended up scoring the 7 points in the first quarter, but how did you feel about his play calling in that first 15 minutes?
I thought they did a good job, and they got off early because their defense was playing so good. Now, you got to remember, their last time out against Hawaii, they were down 17-0 in the first half. So that was a complete lack of offensive production.
In a game that they stormed back to get a win against Hawaii. James Butler, the sophomore, gets the carry on first down. Butler, the 5th most rushing yards in the Mountain West Conference. Don Jackson, his partner in the backfield, 6th in the Mountain West. These 2 guys combined would make one of the best running backs in the country yardage-wise, second only to Leonard Fournette, who's the Heisman frontrunner right now from LSU.
And they're the only 2 backs combo in the country, both over 650 yards.
The Bulldog defense sniffs it out through the middle. Jeff Camilli with a nice job getting his head in there. It's interesting to think about that the second leading rusher in the country is from the Mountain West Conference. It's Brian Hill out of Wyoming, but these two guys jump up over that. Irvin edges him out in the yards per game here, as you see.
Yeah, but the duo, you know, at 180 yards, almost 180 yards a game, I mean, that's an impressive 1-2 punch. And then you, of course, Tyler Irvin, San Jose State, Brian Hill, Wyoming, Donnell Pumphrey having a great year for the Aztecs of San Diego State. And then you have Jeremy McNichols, of course, at Boise State. The Mountain West Conference, they don't have the quarterbacks this year, but they have the running backs.
They've got running backs, and they've got great linebackers as well in the conference this year. Adro Edorine, one of those on the field right now for Fresno State. 7-3 Wolfpack, and a timeout on the field.
College football brought to you by Cadillac.
Well, Tom, I don't know about you, but if you really want to feel like you didn't accomplish anything today, just watch somebody jump out of a plane. Stuffing my face with hamburgers out here in California. Welcome back to Fresno, by the way. 9:13 to play second quarter. Mike Cousins, former UCLA and NFL quarterback Tom Ramsey, glad to have you along. To 3rd down and 6 for the Wolfpack. Stewart loads up, throws into double coverage down the sideline, and completes it. Hassan Henderson taking it all the way. A risk that pays off for Stewart as he throws his 12th touchdown of the year. This one for 73 yards.
Great call that time by Nick Rolovich, the offensive coordinator. They wanted to, well, it appears there's a flag down too, but going after the big fella Hassan Henderson, that's just out jump you.
The play resulted in a touchdown. After the play was over, personal foul, number 77, offense. 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff. Try for point.
So the foul comes after the play. Touchdown stands on the throw for Stewart.
So all of a sudden you have a 3rd down play, and Tyler Stewart just launches the ball, and it's just a great play, thrown over the top of Tyquan Glass to Hassan Henderson. That's just finding the high point of the ball, and Henderson making a great play and taking it all the way to the end zone for Nevada.
Brent Zuzo with the extra point, got it. A perfect 27 of 27 on tries after this year, and stretches the lead to 14-3 for the Wolfpack. There's a 3rd down for Stewart, the junior quarterback for Nevada. He's hooked up with Henderson. Makes it an 11-point lead. (14-3), Nevada with the lead. 1 touchdown on offense. A career-long 73-yard strike from Tyler Stewart to Hassan Henderson. Just a 3-play drive that took all of 83 seconds. Their other touchdown coming on defense. So both phases coming through nicely tonight for Nevada as they lead here on the road and try and snap a 3-game skid against Fresno State. Damari Scott picks up the short kick and tumbles to the 35-yard line. Saturday, ABC. Some good college football. We'll check this flag first and then set you up for what's coming on Saturday.
During the return, holding, number 29, receiving team. 10-yard penalty enforced from the end of the return. First out.
Sets him back. So Saturday, ABC. First great game, 3:30 Eastern. Number 1 ranked Clemson at 8-0 and 7-1 Florida State, presented by Kay Jewelers. Then at 8, Ohio State and Minnesota at the Horseshoe, presented by Walmart. And both games also streaming live on Watch ESPN. Back to work here for Kilton Anderson. Just his 4th career start for the redshirt freshman from Naples, Florida. Inexperienced but exuberant, his coaching staff says, and nearly intercepted there off the hands of Jordan Dobrich. So as things stand now on Tuesday, we saw the initial rankings released by the College Football Playoff Committee. 1, 2, 3, 4 with Clemson, LSU, Alabama, and Ohio State. But as we talked about before, they're fun to look at now, but you look back to last year and these could change drastically coming toward December.
I don't think Nick Saban liked looking at him at all. Even though he's in the 4.
He said, don't ask me about it. Nice take by Waller. Help regain that penalty yardage.
Yeah, Waller, the offensive line does a nice job freeing him up this time. They pull guard, tackle from the backside, run a little counter action, and Waller getting up the field.
Anderson rolling out and getting rid of it, looking to throw to Jameer Jordan. I don't know, was he across the line of scrimmage when he threw that ball?
I think Brian Polian was giving the ref an earful, telling him he believed he was, yes.
It looked like an illegal forward pass. No flag is thrown. So chalk it up to a 2nd down and 10 for the Bulldogs. Waller trying to turn left. He's got nowhere to go. Stoned Ian Seau, who forced that fumble earlier, knocks him backwards for 3 yards.
And the good news also, of course, Ian Seau playing well at one defensive end. Lenny Jones, who was hurt earlier in the game, he's back on the field. So he's manning that other defensive end. And I thought when he went out, you know, that was going to be a blow to that defensive line, because that really is, I think, the big building block of this Nevada defense. It's that experienced defensive line. They can create a lot of havoc with a 4-man rush.
And they don't necessarily have to blitz to make it a difficult night for Kilton Anderson. But they do here on 3rd down, and his throw sails well over the head of Damari Scott. Flag comes in back at the 27-yard line where the collision was.
I think it might have been a late hit on the quarterback.
The officials confer and are going to check what the call is.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 10, defense. 15-yard penalty and an automatic 1st down.
And an automatic 1st down for Fresno State.
Well, you said it, Mike. They ended up bringing blitz, and they brought a ton of guys. Lenny, oh yeah,
that should be targeting.
Well, yeah, that
leading with the crown of the helmet.
L.J. Jackson, a linebacker, came on the blitz, and he went airborne, and yeah, helmet to helmet. That could be a targeting call, absolutely.
Just past midfield for the 1st and 10. Quick throw. Jordan snares it. Slips one tackle. He's inside the 35-yard line and cut down out of bounds. 16-yard pickup for Jordan, the redshirt freshman.
Again, that's the guy they want to get the ball to. He's the explosive one for Fresno State. Jameer Jordan, you can't give him the ball all the time, but you can give him the ball definitely out on the edge and in space.
Elijah Mitchell now is the injured player down on a knee. A junior from Corona, California for Nevada. I love the word that Tim DeRuyter used to describe Jameer Jordan yesterday. He said, I want him to be the dude. Which is a nice way of saying we need you to be a number 1 in order to pick up a win. Nevada up 14-3.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Fresno State, after a trip to the Mountain West Championship game a year ago, not exactly where it thought it would be. A 2-6, picked 2nd in the West Division after going 6-8 last year and losing to Rice in the Hawaii Bowl. Have lost by an average margin of 31 points a game, but here they are on the move inside Nevada territory. Anderson with a quick draw finds Keyshawn Johnson His first catch of the night, stopped by Kendall Johnson, the sophomore from Lafayette, Louisiana, for a gain of 5.
I think it's really important they get points and get a touchdown on this drive. In particular, they're going up-tempo a little bit right now.
Flag comes in as Anderson tucks it, and the play is blown dead. That's a procedure call against the offensive line.
False start, number 75, offense, 5-yard penalty, second down.
4th penalty of the game for Fresno State. They average, the exact number is 4.38 a game. 8th best in FBS.
Yeah, Jacob Vasquez getting flagged that time, who's kind of been thrusted into duty, but boy, they had something set up too on the edge. They were going after Elijah Moody, the corner that stepped in for Elijah Mitchell.
4 wide receivers. Anderson hands off, and Waller finds a lane through the middle of that defense. Under the 24-yard line. Good blocking on the left side by Alex Fafita and Aaron Mitchell. Right back to the line of scrimmage. Waller stretching forward, hit by Matthew Lyons. It'll be a close spot here.
They're going to come up short again, Mike, on what was a 3rd and 1, and now it's going to be 4th and 1. Tim DeRuyter is going to have to make a head coach call here. I'd go for it in this situation.
The crowd booed when they didn't go for it on 4th down last time. 6 of 19 on 4th down this year, and we've got whistles.
Timeout, Nevada, their first charge of the half, 30-second timeout.
So if nothing else, they force the Wolfpack defensive front to say, all right, we've got to reconsider here, not necessarily expecting that. Saturday on ESPN, a couple of Big 10 games for you. 8-0 teams put their perfect records on the line at 3:30 Eastern. It's Iowa, off to its best start since 2009 against Indiana, presented by Cars.com. 7th-ranked Michigan State and Nebraska in Lincoln at 7, and it's presented by Hilton Hotels. Michigan State riding that 12-game winning streak, 4th longest in FBS.
They got a good quarterback. Connor Cook is one of the best around. I think that's going to keep leading them and driving them to success, and he's an awfully good player.
So 4th down and 1. Anderson's got the first down and room to run, and he is gone. Touchdown Fresno State from 24 yards out.
Well, again, the read option, Mike, and Dave Schramm over there, the offense coordinator, pulled, I had my glasses on, and he pulled Kilton Anderson aside and said, listen, this is what you got to do. Ride the back, let him go all the way in, and then make a move. And he makes a fantastic cut and getting north and south into the end zone. And you like that checkerboard, don't you?
It's a beautiful end zone, especially Kilton Anderson probably thinks so right now. His 3rd rushing touchdown of the year. He's thrown 4 picks, thrown for 1 score, but he does a nice job of making Patrick Chowda miss and taking it in.
Yeah, it's just a great read with his eyes. He's able to make a move, stop on a dime, and go north and south. And there's a lot of congratulations coming his way. Tim DeRuyter's over there, Dave Schramm, all getting pats on the back for Kilton Anderson. That's just a great play by number 19.
Think about how young this team is, too. And their last game against Air Force, they started 2 more players. Wide receiver Michael Martins, defensive end Kyle Hendrickson making their first career starts. 19 guys this year with their first start of their career. Yeah. So you're fighting through youth and experience, but when you have guys who play with that type of energy, that's the type of player a team can get behind.
Yeah, and you know, the expectations here, Mike, at Fresno are high. Listen, you know, they are high. They've won Mountain West Conference championships. They were in the championship game a year ago against Boise State. And Tim DeRuyter, they win a lot of games here. They're 19-4 in 4 years. They control their home field. I think a lot of the Mountain West Conference schools do that. They do a nice job holding court.
Celis takes it from inside the 5 to the 21-yard line for Nevada. And part of the rivalry here goes back to last year. It was a game at Nevada where the loser is eliminated from the chance to go to the Mountain West title game. Brian Polian said during the week that it still bothers him. So many coaches will lock up and say, you know, it doesn't really bother me, whether that's true or not. And he was very strong in saying it's something that has stayed with me. Last year's game, it was a 20-point difference, 40-20 in favor of Fresno State. Brian Burrell, 4 touchdowns through the air and ran for another to help them end up taking on Boise State in the conference title game. Stewart, after a big throw on the last drive for 73 yards, tries to air it out again. And it's too far. Looking for Jericho Richardson.
Number 84, Jericho Richardson.
And I think, Mike, you know, to your point about last year's game where Brian Burrell threw for over 300 yards for Fresno State, and, you know, it still is a rub to Brian Polian, and it's because Nevada owned the tiebreakers against last year against San Diego State and as well as Fresno State. Had they won, and I believe San Jose State was in the mix too, so they controlled their own destiny, and then they just laid an egg pretty much.
Stewart on the run, finds Jarrett Gibson, his tight end. Nice grab by the guy who they say is more H-back than tight end and can move once he gets the football.
And that was actually Brian Polian's term a year ago. He said, we laid an egg in that game. And it was a, you know, it's funny, you know, when you win.
Jackson quickly wrapped up Kyrie Wilson.
Yeah, when you win, you have a short memory. It's the losses you tend to remember all too much. Nevada with a little pace here.
They fake the run up the middle, and then Stewart turns the corner to the 50-yard line. A first down for the Wolfpack.
And they finally eye the clock. They want to get a little up-tempo going and take a look inside there. Nice pull away from Tyler Stewart.
Taking it to the wide side of the field, but good pursuit coming from Jamal Ellis, the cornerback, who was able to sniff that out as the clock goes inside 5 minutes here in the second quarter.
Tyler Stewart couldn't find the sideline quick enough. He's not a guy that's going to take it north-south necessarily in between tacklers. He's going to get to the sideline a little quicker.
He's got Gibson to hold a block to his right, and he finds Richardson inside the 30-yard line. They are moving the ball at a frenetic pace here on this drive, trying to stretch their 4-point lead. That's a 20-yard hookup.
I like the call by Nick Rolovich. He moved the pocket a little bit, and then he put Jericho Richardson down the field.
Looking for a screen. And not a lot going on there. Wyatt Debs, the intended receiver, but Tyquan Glass was a disruptive force at the edge.
Glass looking for his second interception. They throw it quick out to the right side. And of course, that was the play before. Richardson getting down the field. That was a nice throw and catch.
Here's second down and 10 as the pace slows for Nevada. Pressure off the edge. Edirine is there, and Stewart goes down. Glass and Edirine combined to send Stewart flying backwards.
Edirine comes into the game with 11 tackles for loss. That's number 12. I believe they're going to credit him, but both he and Glass on the blitz, and well, they might give him a half sack each on that. That's just a really good play by Edirine, staying after the quarterback and chasing him outside of the pocket, getting him down on the sideline.
A loss of 10 on the play.
Took him out of field goal range too.
And Nevada calls a timeout as the play clock was about to hit 0.
Charge of the half. 30
Stopping
seconds.
the clock at 3:44 here before halftime. Well, coming up on our Land Rover halftime report, bring you the highlights of Baylor and K-State. Not exactly the high-scoring game you might have expected from Baylor, a T-Town tussle, and then Clemson's chance to shine, as they come out huge in the initial college football playoff rankings. The Tigers at 8-0, number 1, both in the AP poll and the college football playoff rankings. Top strength of record. That's huge. And I think that's a big reason why the Big 12 is on the outside looking in of the top 4 after 1 week.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the strength of the schedule is really important. And, you know, if that much weight is going to go to those, you know, and then, of course, I have my own predictions, right? and I think Ohio State, I'm a believer until you knock off someone from the top perch, they stay number 1. But listen, Ohio State, whether they're number 1 or number 4, it really doesn't matter. They're in the 4.
9th play of the drive, but it's a 3rd and 20 for the Wolfpack. Design run here for Stewart. Bulldogs are all over it. Gain of 7.
Safe play that time by the Wolfpack, and again, keeping the ball in the hands of Tyler Stewart. He ends up getting up the field, puts his eyes down the field as though it was going to be a pass, but I think the entire time it was designed quarterback draw just to get it closer for the kicker, Brent Zizou.
The junior out of Canton, Michigan, trying from 47. 83% for his career. It would be his longest of the season. Previous high is 41. This one's got the distance, and it is good for Zuzo. 17-10, Nevada with the lead. Well, celebrating its 11th year sponsoring the Good Hands Field Goal Nets, Allstate makes contributions to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kick. To date, Allstate has contributed millions in scholarship funds. Zuzo nailing that field goal. 83% is the best mark in Nevada history and the 10th best among active FBS kickers.
Yeah, Zuzo really having a nice year, and in fact, he won Mountain West Conference Player of the Week honors in their last game when they played Hawaii and had that comeback win, and he also recovered an onside kick.
That's not somewhere you'd expect the kicker to be. Usually just get it off the tee and get out of the way, right?
most days.
Zuzo lets it fly again. And Damari Scott over to pick it up. Crossing the field and crossing the 20-yard line. And down he goes.
Damari Scott's about 1 block away from springing a long run. They've done a nice job on their special teams, setting up blocks. He's fast enough to take it to the house, too. But, boy, I tell you, they're about 1 block away. You got to they have enough time now. 2:50 left on the clock. String a couple plays together. If you get 1 or 2 explosive plays in this drive, you got a chance for points before the end of the half.
Anderson trying to architect a drive that could help tie this game before halftime. Play action, the blocks hold up nicely. His throw down the sideline. Jordan was his intended recipient, but Jordan was not looking for the football.
Now, I tell you what's really hard about that formation and throw is that it's into the sideline and you just squeeze the field down, and Kilton Anderson had nowhere to go with the ball. Someone on the Bulldog sideline made a nice catch, though.
That GA is getting promoted. 4 wide receivers on 2nd down. It's a quick screen. Josiah Blandon makes the grab. Bowling balls over a defender at the 30-yard line as he sends Kendall Johnson to the ground. And 2.5 minutes left here before halftime. Fresno State with a couple chances to stop the clock. See what Kilton Anderson can do.
And I think they're in the right formation. They spread out that Nevada defense, and they make them declare who's going to be a rusher, and who's not, who's going to drop back in pass coverage.
Anderson keeps it. He's got a first down, makes a couple defenders miss, moving laterally across the 40-yard line. So dangerous with his feet. Ran for 24 yards on a score and keeps the drive alive with a gain of 16.
And Kilton Anderson, when he was in high school, he played a couple years down in Naples, Florida. He was in a veer offense. That's why he runs the ball so well. He has great quick feet and able to elude tacklers.
Back to throw, first down, under pressure, heaving long, and through the hands of Jameer Jordan, who comes up wanting a flag and doesn't get one.
Yeah, I think the referees might have missed an arm around Jameer Jordan's waist, because I thought the ball was right on the mark, and he got hit in the head and shoved before the ball came down. I mean, where's the flag?
Brian Lane Jr., the linebacker, was there with him in coverage, so nothing doing there, but a quick throw, and Josiah Blandon helps him move further into Nevada territory. Second catch of the night for Blandon, the junior from Long Beach, California.
And he's a good-looking long receiver, 6'4", 215-pounder.
Looks like the exact same play down to the 30-yard line, right at the first down marker to Blandon.
Yep, they know when they have something, you have a mismatch against a corner, keep going after it. Now you need to run a little sluggo, a little slant and go.
Anderson, a bullet. He connects with Delvon Hardaway. He's spreading it out for the entire wide receiver corps. A minute 10 now after a gain of 11 and a timeout. So for an offense that has been struggling, only 4 offenses in the country average fewer yards per game than Fresno State. When they found success, they're going to the hurry up. Bertrando right now, Alex Bertrando, the junior from Loomis, California, is down. But what have you seen from this offense that makes it successful when they rush back to the line?
I think anytime you go up tempo, guys like playing fast, and obviously Kilton Anderson has a good feel for that offense when they are playing fast.
They've also been able to attack against Elijah Moody, the redshirt freshman in at quarterback, replacing Elijah Mitchell, the starter there.
Yeah, and of course Moody is a redshirt freshman out of Long Beach Poly, again out of a great high school program. But you know, when you haven't been on the field a whole lot, you see Dave Schramm in the middle of the huddle talking to that Bulldog offense and trying to get guys on the same page. And you know, that's the hardest thing, right, Mike, is feeling comfortable within an offense when a lot of guys are brand new to the system. They were 4th team coming in to training camp. Kilton Anderson, you can ask him, I'm sure if you went back in time and said, hey, do you think you're going to play this year? He'd probably say, oh, heck no.
I don't think I was getting off the scout team this year.
I'm going to run scout. Yeah, that's my job, you know, and I'm going to show Coach Schramm I can play, and I know some plays. But all of a sudden you get thrust into duty. Minute 9 left now on the clock, and Nevada using their second timeout just to slow down the Bulldogs. But Fresno State with 2 timeouts, a lot of time here.
No help in the backfield. And a quick throw. It's caught by Hardaway.
Complete to Delvon Hardaway. Hakeem Muhammad, number 3 defender.
Looks like they're going to try and down the ball.
Right back to the line, and they stop the clock with 46 seconds left.
Stop the clock.
You know, I think what I would have done there is I would have gone hurried up to the line and run a running play. I would have handed off to Martez Waller. Then I would have called timeout, because now you burned a play. Now you have a 3rd and 4, and you know, it's just again.
So you're saying you wouldn't have spiked the ball? They've got 2 timeouts.
Yeah, I would have run the ball, then called timeout, because you have plenty of time on the clock and you had 2 timeouts.
And favorable field position with the ball at the 13. Anderson tucks it. A juke. and gets maybe a yard, and now it's 4th down.
Yeah, and he almost got the ball knocked out of his hands.
Their second charge of the half, 30 seconds in length.
Good news was he wasn't careless with it, so Fresno State down to their last timeout.
The spike is just a head scratcher there.
Yeah, sure was. Not for Brian Polian. He was happy they did it.
17-10, Nevada with the lead over Fresno State. Nevada kicked off to start the game, so they can receive the ball to start the second half. 4th down and 3 here. The crowd didn't like it. Not that Tim DeRuyter is taking polls before he's stuck picking a play call. What do you go with here?
Well, either you leave the ball in the hands of your quarterback, Kilton Anderson, as they did the last time they had 4th down, or you get it to Martez Waller, who is essentially your playmaker from the running back position. But they've keyed on Waller all night long, so I think it's going to be maybe a fake to Waller, pull it out, and a run-pass option with Kilton Anderson.
Waller in the backfield, left. And a quick throw. The ball is caught, and it's a completion inside the 5 for Jordan.
That's how you win games sometimes. You go for it on 4th down during the game. Kilton Anderson, just a quick catch and throw.
And another timeout. So Nevada stops the clock their last timeout.
Kilton Anderson, it's a quick catch, quick throw, and Jameer Jordan makes a spectacular behind the shoulder catch. It's, the ball was not thrown on his breastplate, and it was a little behind him, but boy, Jordan's such a good player. He was the dude that time, Mike.
The dude. That's what Tim DeRuyter said. He needs to be their top player if they're going to have a big night. They're on the doorstep and a chance to tie the game here. At the 2-yard line, the Bulldogs with 1 timeout left, 28 seconds before the half. Meisenheimer left in the formation. Waller is the deep back. Anderson fakes the handoff. Now runs, throws into the end zone. Incomplete.
Yeah, I believe the ball did hit the ground indeed. The referees, 2 referees were right on the play, and neither of them raised their arms for a touchdown, so it's incomplete.
And the ball is down.
Second and goal with the 2.
So 2nd and goal. And now more whistles.
Timeout. Fresno State. Their 3rd and final of the half.
The
30
Bulldogs
seconds in line.
have now used their final timeout. This has been a puzzling drive at times for Fresno State in a variety of ways.
I think Tim DeRuyter, I think the reason he called timeout, he wanted the play to be at least reviewed. He felt as though there was at least a chance for a second look, but he also doesn't have our program monitors in front of him.
The officials upstairs, the replay crew, they're going to look at that, and they had sufficient time to see it. We saw it. One view was enough to know that the ball was down in the end zone.
Yeah, I mean, the referees never signaled touchdown, and well, that one's not nothing's changing there. And it almost becomes a wasted timeout.
See what they do with Waller here, the senior from Georgia.
I think you have to throw it. I think you have to throw it a couple times here because you just burned the timeout.
No timeouts left to stop the clock. Anderson looks, he fires, incomplete.
Lenny Jones, big number 94, getting his hands up. He made an interception a year ago in the game, picking off a screen pass. Big fella out of San Leandro. San Leandro High. I like Lenny Jones. I like how he plays. He comes off the edge hard. The other guy, remember now, Ian Seau is on the other end, and he got after the quarterback the last time he played with 4 sacks.
Anderson rolls and throws. Touchdown! Josiah Blandon with his 4th touchdown catch of the year, and a chance to tie for the Bulldogs.
Blandon with 3 catches on that drive, and that was a 13-play drive. And boy, you know, a nice exclamation point here. Little play action, nice crossing by the backs in the background, and Blandon just leaves his man stranded. Just a great play. Really good ball faking action in the backfield.
Extra point is no good from Cronin. Well, for Fresno State, a team trying for an upset bid here at home, they're going to have to hope that one does not come back to haunt them in the second half.
Well, I was going to tell you, after they scored on that drive, even though it was a nice long play, you know, 70-something yard drive, they make it look hard. They make it hard. I mean, they're playing uphill almost the whole time, and
they're like the person on the treadmill at the gym who's walking but holding on to the railing, and you're wondering, what are they doing? And they're accomplishing something, but it's just really hard.
And then when that person turns around and starts walking backwards on the treadmill, I'm always scratching my head like, what are they doing? Like, I've never seen that exercise.
Practical training there.
Yeah. Well, if you go climb Half Dome or something, you need a little extra training right up the street in Yosemite. It's not far away here from Fresno.
And a 1-point lead for Nevada. 14 seconds left here in the half after a 14-play, 76-yard drive where most impressively Kilton Anderson was 6 of 9, and they designed short, simple plays for him.
Yeah, and he did real well with the up-tempo as well.
Short kick through the middle, and woof. Nevada had to drop on that one real quick. Lucas Weber is there to fall on it after the ball had been touched.
But we knew we were going to have a close game. And there's some attitude between the teams, and they know they're going to have a good game.
5-yard penalty will be tacked on to the end of the return. First down. Please set the game clock to 13 seconds.
So Fresno State offside on the kickoff.
And now a quick opportunity here for Nevada to bring this first half to a close. They'll get the ball to start the second half, and with at least a 1-point lead. So 17-16 through one half. For Fresno State, it could be tied, but small victories where you can get them. They only averaged 21 points a game on the year, and they're down by 1 at home, trying to make it a 4th straight win against the Wolfpack. But it's 17-16, Nevada at the half. Pretty good one here on a chilly Thursday night in Fresno, California. 1-point game. Let's join Adnan Virk, Danny Cannell, Joey Galloway for the Land Rover halftime report after this quick break. Getting ready for the start of the second half in Fresno, California. The Nevada Wolfpack, thanks to a missed extra point, have a 17-16 advantage. A little bit of a chilly night, but a good one for football. Mike Cousins, glad to have you along with former UCLA and NFL quarterback Tom Ramsey. And Tom, let's take a look at the AT&T strong performance from the first half.
Well, I think a lot of it was Kilton Anderson finding Josiah Blandon. Found him 4 times on the drive, and you know, Blandon 6'4", 215-pound receiver, big guy, good target. And then of course he also found Delvon Hardaway mixing it up, left side, right side, and then finishes the drive with a touchdown throw to Blandon. You know, they were good on 3rd down. They were 4 of 10. I think the most interesting thing here, Mike, is that they possessed the ball almost 17 minutes. and their last game in its entirety, they had the ball for 17 minutes against Air Force. So there's some good things happening. Total yards 200, over 200. And I think the other important thing is they got 13 first downs. They got a lot of them on that last drive, and they seemingly used the clock well. They played with fire a little bit with that last time out. I think Coach Tim DeRuyter was looking for a challenge play, didn't get it. The numbers on the quarterbacks tonight, I think what's going to happen, both quarterbacks have to throw it to win it. I think both defenses are doing a great job stopping the run tonight.
And you look at what Don Jackson and James Butler did combined in that first half, and it was a very quiet half running the football for Nevada, with those two guys combined would be the second leading rusher in the country.
Yeah, combined they had a total of 15 yards between them.
With Stewart doing the rest in the ground game. So Fresno to kick. And Andrew Sellis is back deep for Nevada. From the 7-yard line, here he comes. He gains the 20 and hits some traffic. Stop at the 26-yard line. Just to give you a picture of how things picked up there in that second quarter. First quarter, these two teams combined for 75 yards and 4 first downs. In the second quarter, 295 yards and 14 first downs. First touchdown scored by Nevada came on a fumble recovery and a 30-yard touchdown for Matthew Lyons, and then the offense got going.
I think it's important here for Fresno State to get a stop early on defense, capture some momentum, and then on the flip side, if you're Nevada, you really kind of ran out of gas in the second quarter. You got to make something on your early drives right now.
First call is a give to Butler through the middle with a great second effort, keeps that pile moving. Shannon Edwards, the safety, got his hands on him and helped stop the run after a gain of 6.
Well, the defensive coordinator, Nick Toth, said, hey, if you guys are calling our defensive ends names a lot, that means we're having a good game.
Those are the two guys who have to really step up. Todd Hunt, Claudel Lewis. Now a third down and short for Nevada.
Very manageable third down for Nevada. I think one of the key to their zone read plays out of that pistol offense they run is that the quarterback really has to sell it, and he's got to make a good read.
And a flag comes in.
Ball start, number 72, offense. 5-yard penalty, third down.
That's on the right guard, Jeremy McCauley, who was injured earlier this year and coming back this week, getting back into the swing of things. Both of these teams coming off of bye weeks, which, as any coach will tell you at any level of football, always comes at the right time. But especially this late in the season, helpful for both teams with players coming back off of injuries. 3rd and 7 after the penalty on McCauley. Stewart with pressure bearing down, lobs it up one-on-one. Oh, what a grab. Hassan Henderson falling backwards at the 40-yard line. 30-yard grab for Henderson, the junior from Vegas.
Kind of a heave-ho to the big kid, 6'5", and Tyler Stewart's eyes took him all the way back across the field. Just a remarkable throw and catch. Little push off always helps against Taekwon Glass, Fresno State's best corner.
Whatever the referees don't see doesn't hurt them, right?
No.
Says the wide receiver. 2 minutes and change gone here in this third quarter. Butler is the running back with Stewart. Back to throw it, a 3-step drop, fires a bullet, and it's Henderson again on the quick route to the 35-yard line.
Well, Fresno State is dialing up blitz right now, and the guy making the throws is Tyler Stewart, and he's finding that big target, number 12, Hassan Henderson. He's having a nice game.
He can fling the ball with some good success. Earlier this year against Wyoming, a game they lost, threw for a career-high 287 yards against the Cowboys. Another third down, this time 3 yards to go. Henderson motions. No protection. Flushed out of the pocket, and a throw on the run falls incomplete on third down. It's 4th and 3, likely out of field goal range.
Yeah, Henderson saying, throw it to me. He's over 100 yards tonight receiving, 4 catches, 122 yards. Talking it over on the sideline a little bit. Fourth and 3, you know, if you play the odds right now, you punt it away, you punt them down deep into their own zone, but it appears they're going to go for it here.
They're only 2 of 10 going for it on 4th down this year. Quick drop off. Will it be enough? Yes, it is to get the first down. And just enough to move it as James Butler makes the catch and scampers for the first. 11 yards on the drop off.
Nice play. It's one of those, you know, little Aaron Rodgers to Eddie Lacy, little slip screen type delay to the back. And boy, James Butler does a great job just dragging the pile.
They move it down to the 23-yard line. Butler bursts through the middle, shakes 2 tackles, and is taken down at the 9-yard line. A 14-yard gain before Tobena Okeke getting the start at linebacker, coming back from injury, drags him to the ground.
James Butler really having a nice year coming into this game, over 750 yards rushing, averaging 6 yards a carry.
They're quick to the line and quick to make a decision with the football. Right back through the middle again. It's Butler, who in their last game, 28 carries, 134 yards against Hawaii.
You know, one of the folks I visited with before the game, Pat Hill, the old Fresno State coach, came up, said hello, came by the box, and you know, he said, hey, this is going to be a battle. And these two teams, they just don't like each other. Nevada, Fresno State, they've had some good rival games. That's why it goes all the way back to the Western Athletic Conference days, and they get after each other.
Now a flag comes in from the near sideline. Going to go against the line.
Ball start, number 73, offense. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Austin Corbett, the left tackle.
Well, the offensive line of Nevada really setting them back this drive. 2 procedure calls on this drive alone, and really kind of sets them back. And you know, especially when you get down to the red zone, you don't want to back up 5 yards. And now it's second and goal. An
area where they convert exceptionally well, 93%, tops in the Mountain West. 3 down linemen for Fresno State. To give to the right side for Butler. He hashes his way to the 4-yard line. 6 yards on the run. Butler, the bell cow on this drive. Not seen Don Jackson. It's all Butler as they alternate drive by drive, at least in an ideal world.
Ederaine, the outside linebacker, again holding the edge and turning Butler back into a host of tacklers. And this is where it gets interesting, right? 3rd down. The one guy they haven't thrown the ball to tonight is Jared Gibson, the tight end H-back.
He's set left of the formation. It's Richardson in motion.
Yeah, the offensive line moved again.
You could hear the Bulldogs line yelling.
77, offense. 5-yard penalty. It's 3rd down.
Ziad Dominori, the sophomore from San Diego, at left guard. And that's bound to change their play call, setting them back at the 10-yard line.
3rd and goal at the 10.
Henderson, the wide receiver, to the short side, and Richardson to the wide side. Gibson in motion with Jackson left of Stewart. The quarterback rolls. He's at the boundary.
I thought the quarterback may have stepped out of bounds before he threw the ball. Tyler Stewart was just tiptoeing along the sideline. May be able to see it from the end zone camera. Ball needs to come out early.
And what you'll see, too, is that number 12, Hassan Henderson, the official at the back of the end zone, throws his hat down, signifying that the receiver stepped out of bounds.
Well, he never threw the ball.
Field goal try for Zuzo from 30. And a stalled offensive drive leads to 3. 20-16, Nevada in the lead. The offensive line drawing some flags and keeping it close in Fresno. 4 here in Fresno, California at Bulldog Stadium. Mike Cousins, Tom Ramsey. Next for being with us tonight, a 12-play, 62-yard drive, just about 6.5 minutes, capped off by a Brent Zuzo 30-yard field goal.
Well, Zuzo's having a good game, kicking it deep. Damari Scott, remember, he's a bit only about 1 block away from breaking one tonight.
And here he comes from his own 5-yard line. Not that time. Well, he escapes 1 tackle. There he goes with some momentum out to the 30-yard line. A 25-yard return for Scott. College game day at the big matchup of the week in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, LSU. It starts Saturday, 9 Eastern on ESPN. It's streaming live on Watch ESPN. Last year it was Bama in overtime. What do you think is the biggest implication here? Is it college football playoff? Is it SEC West? What do you see here?
I think it's SEC West because the loser's out, right? The loser's not going to come back into the Final Four or the last 4 of the selection because they're just not going to get there.
Waller on first down over to the left side, stopped by Jordan Dobrich, the senior mechanical engineering major who was just inducted into the National Football Foundation Scholar Athlete class. $18,000 postgraduate scholarship.
You know, as Nick Saban said today, if you're not, you know, in that last group of 4, at the last, right before they select, it really doesn't matter. So all of this is for all the pundits, all the fans across America. I think it's great. I think it's great folly. But until the end of the season, there's so many great games. And this weekend, there are some great games.
Clemson, Florida State among those, as well as Alabama, LSU. Third and 6 now. After the incomplete pass intended for Jordan. Dobrich shows pressure, backs off. A stunt along the defensive line. And a throw to the sideline is incomplete, intended for Damari Scott. Good coverage from Kendall Johnson to force a 4th down.
Boy, the ball went in the right direction. Looked as though Scott had single coverage along the sideline, and the ball came out well. Might have been just a hair laid out of Kilton Anderson's hands, but I thought Scott had an opportunity to catch the ball there.
Have you liked what you've seen throwing the ball with Anderson tonight?
I did when they went up tempo. I liked it a lot.
Swanson airs it out. Sellis hops back to the 24-yard line. 7:30 to go here in the 3rd quarter. It's tight between these two Mountain West rivals. Wolfpack with the ball when we return. Fresno up 20-16 with 7:30 left here in the 3rd quarter. Stewart, the architect of this offense. And here they go from the 24. A dart to the edge, and a gain of 5, maybe 6 for Jericho Richardson, the junior from North Hills, California.
Yeah, I think tonight's play calling, Nick Rolovich, the offensive coordinator for Nevada, did a nice job. Mix, run and pass. And one of the interesting things, talking to Rolovich this week, one of the guys he really spent a lot of time with was Tom Herman, the offensive coordinator that was under Urban Meyer that won the national championship with Ohio State. And Tom Herman, the same Tom Herman, now the head coach at Houston, the 8-0 Houston Cougars. So when coaches start sharing secrets, it gets interesting.
That's a first down carry right through the middle for Jackson, back onto the field. How much does that happen in the offseason? Maybe people don't realize how much sharing of ideas there is.
Quite a bit. You know, and coaches are really giving if there's some chemistry and there's some connectivity, and there always is, because football's 2 degrees of separation at all times. But you know, a guy like Nick Rolovich can call up Tom Herman and go, hey, I kind of want to understand more about that, you know, the read option. How does it all come together?
Heavy blitz comes in, and nowhere to go for Jackson. Tobena Okeke helps lead the charge.
And all of these coaches want to get better. They're teachers, right? They want to learn. And I'll tell you what, having Okeke back in the lineup, he's been injured a little bit, had a knee, and when he comes off the edge, he is danger zone, man.
You have Okeke on the outside, paired with Adro Edarine on the opposite side. 2 very dangerous outside linebackers in the 3-4 scheme.
Okeke's only a sophomore.
The Bulldogs bring 4. Stewart steps up through the pocket. He's got great speed, burns the 50-yard line, and goes down to the 41. Finally covered up there by Shannon Edwards, the safety. He can take off and move. That was 25 yards.
You know, the other guy, well, you got to remember Nick Rolovich, he himself was a great quarterback at the University of Hawaii, and then he ended up GAing out there too. And the other guy he picked brains was Mouse Davis, the old architect of the run and shoot offense. Taking you back before your time there, Mike Cousins.
Pressure off the edge. The Wolfpack goes through the middle. Jackson gets the carry again. You see them alternating carries between Jackson and Butler, drive by drive. Still a part of the game I'm sure they'd like to get in better gear. Coming into this drive, Jackson and Butler, those two have combined for only 47 yards.
Yeah, I think they are doing a nice job of spelling each other and getting the other one back on track. But Fresno State still, they're awfully tough to run against tonight. They're bringing guys off the edge.
Jackson behind a good push from his offensive line. Saw Jeremy McCauley getting through there, and it's a first down.
Fresno State that time bringing Taekwon Glass on a corner fire or a corner blaze where he just comes from the boundary on a blitz, more or less unannounced, and trying to blow up a play in the backfield. But Don Jackson that time taking it right up the middle.
3 wide receivers at 1st and 10. A little bit of penetration. Edarine helps make the stop with Nick Christophers on Jackson, the senior from Sacramento.
Christophers made a nice play there. You know, they're in that gap cancellation defense. They're bringing extra guys, extra hats to the ball, and putting a little pressure right now is Nevada on that Fresno State defense.
Robert Stanley, number 32.
And the officials calling a timeout. Robert Stanley coming off the field. Appears to be the injured linebacker there for Fresno State.
Stanley out of Bishop Gorman High School there in Las Vegas.
Basketball and football powerhouse. 8th play of the drive here for Nevada. Now Butler in at running back, and we've got a flag.
False start, number 45, offense. 5-yard penalty. It's second down.
That's Austin Caro, the third-string tight end. Boy, it's like trying to play whack-a-mole, trying to figure out where the penalties are going to come from along this line tonight before the snap.
Well, what's interesting is, you know, Fresno State's moving a lot before the snap of the ball, and I think what's happening, they're showing blitz early, and then Nevada's just, they're trying to get situated and try and find out where the hats are coming from.
Stewart rolling, being pursued from behind, and his dump off is short of Jericho Richardson. Kyrie Wilson in hot pursuit of Stewart.
Kyrie Wilson, the senior inside linebacker, making a great play that time. I think he got Tyler Stewart to get some happy feet and throw the ball before he was ready to throw it. Third down, 12 facing the Wolfpack, and every time tonight they've looked for a big play, they've gone to number 12, who's not, he's actually to the near side at the bottom of the screen.
That's Hassan Henderson, over 100 yards in the air tonight. Stewart looks his way. Now is forced out of the pocket, has room to run, drops it off right at the first down marker, and it's Henderson. Pick up of 14, 2 more than they needed for the first down.
158 yards for Henderson tonight, and you know, he's a big guy. What he does nice, he tracks his quarterback across the field, and then he gets into the field of vision of Tyler Stewart, and he takes a shot. But boy, Hassan Henderson having a nice game tonight.
Jackson with a burst through the middle, carries the pile down to the 8-yard line.
Boy, when you get that big third down conversion, and then you're able to hustle up to the line of scrimmage, and you have a running back, a senior running back like Don Jackson, who knows that if he hits the hole going 100 miles an hour, they're going to have a tough time getting their arms around him, and that was just poor tackling that time by the Bulldogs.
Jackson now 37 yards, puts him at exactly 2,000 for his career. And quickly wrapped up on the second down carry by Claudell Lewis.
Claudell Lewis is not a poor tackler. He's having a nice night tonight. Wrapping up Don Jackson that time at or behind the line of scrimmage.
3rd and 1. Jackson, the senior from the state capital, is in the backfield. He gets the carry through the middle, quickly stood up by Wilson, and the spot shows that he's short of the first down marker, which would be 4th down.
Really close. Nathan Matson, the nose tackle, back from injury. Boy, he stuffed him.
And it is 4th down. And a yard.
Right over center is where the ball's going to go. And oh man, he's hit hard.
Big to have Madsen back from injury. Didn't play versus Air Force because of a leg injury.
Yeah, Kyrie Wilson, 17, drilled him.
Zuzo, 2 of 2. This try from 25 is true. Nevada has had its chances to try and pull away from Fresno State, but a couple of field goals help keep it close. 1 touchdown is the difference. California, the Bulldog fans like it. 23-16. Nevada leads Fresno State in what has been a hotly contested rivalry the last few years. The Bulldogs have won each of the last 3 matchups.
Chilly in the valley tonight, the San Joaquin Valley, one of the farming capitals of the U.S.
I'm already set to go home with a big package of California raisins. Have to find room for that in the suitcase. Damari Scott still looking to break something big tonight, is out of bounds. And we've got a litany of flags coming down before the end of the play.
Mike, I don't know if you're going to be a hit with your friends with raisins. You might want to think about taking some wine back, too. Just saying.
During the return, holding number 29, receiving team. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First out.
So a few plays remain here for Fresno State in the third quarter. Coming up Saturday on ABC, some great games. Number 1 Clemson 8-0 takes on 7-1 16th ranked Florida State. That's presented by Kay Jewelers. Then at 8, Ohio State against Minnesota, presented by Walmart. Both games streaming live on Watch ESPN. What a season it's been for Clemson, trying to go 8-0 for the first time since their title season of 1981.
Well, and Clemson's had a great player, Deshaun Watson, only a sophomore quarterback. I mean, he has made plays when they've needed him to make plays, and they've all been huge plays.
Speaking of plays, here's just the 4th play of this quarter by the Bulldogs. Time of possession has not gone in their favor this year. A couple weeks ago against Air Force, held the ball for fewer than 20 minutes. This quarter, they've held the ball for 54 seconds prior to this drive.
Yeah, it's remarkable. We both looked at each other and said, really, under a minute for time of possession. I think what they have to do is get back into their up-tempo offense, get Nevada back on their heels, and start making some plays.
There's a lot of confusion as to who should be where. Martez Waller, the running back,
Again in the third quarter.
is all over the place. And fortunately, it does not yield a penalty for Fresno State, rather triple zeros in the end of the third quarter. Well, Fresno State at 2-6, looking for their 3rd win of the year. Nevada on the road 4-4, and just 7 points separate these two teams. Chilly night, it'd be best to wear the flannel shirt, right? But you keep moving, you stay warm. Maybe a kilt-like look for Kilton Anderson, a redshirt freshman quarterback. And he gives it up. Out across the 20-yard line, Kevin McReynolds up to make the tackle on Martez Waller.
It's been tough sledding. It's been tough sledding for that Fresno State offensive line against a very stout defensive line of Nevada tonight. Rakeem Yates, number 55, kind of in the middle there, in the heart of that defense. He grew up here in Fresno, and he hates the Bulldogs.
Short carry out right to the marker. Yates, number 55 for Nevada, claims to have never gone to a Fresno State football game, even though he grew up in Fresno, which just seems counter-logical, really.
Yeah, Edison High. He was very vocal about it this week, and nice article in the Fresno Beat the other day. And he's like, I never went to a game. Come on now. Come on, Rakeem. We know you went to 1 or 2.
Well, 1 minute into the fourth quarter, and on 4th and 1, here comes the punt team for Fresno State. Swanson airs it out. Sellish back at the 27, and great special teams coverage. No return for Sellish on a 52-yard punt. 13:36 left in the 4th here in Fresno.
Brought to you by Saya. Premium standard features that actually come standard. Weird, right?
The second half has consisted of 2 3-and-outs for the Fresno State offense. So they lean a lot of pressure on the defense right now here early in the 4th quarter to try and come up with a stop, regain the football. Don Jackson runs into Kyrie Wilson and is taken down after a pickup of about 4. And this is where the test comes, Tom, for the Fresno State defense. Nevada scores here, and this one might be out of reach.
Well, they have to get a stop here. They've given up too many points. They've given up too many yards this year. You know, they've given up 41 points a game, Mike.
Which is 120th out of 127 teams.
Yeah, when you get in over 100, you've given up. You don't
far
want to be
too many.
Yeah. But here's a chance for them. You know, Nick Toth, the defensive coordinator, said, listen, effort is not negotiable. You got to play hard on defense. There has to be an air of physicality. There has to be accountability. And so now you have Nevada right where you want them, right? 3rd and 6. You got them in a longer yard situation and much less manageable than normal. And you put that ball in Tyler Stewart's hands again.
Not only have to worry about the pass, but also Stewart, who can run it pretty well. It's a 6-man rush. Stewart comes outside the pocket, and there's nobody there to stop him. Out across the 40, and a first down for the Wolfpack.
Yeah, they had a bust that time on the edge, and they lost containment. Tyler Stewart bought time. He felt the corner crash. Ederine went inside, picked the wrong angle, and then Tyler Stewart just comes out, and they were in man coverage down the field. Trots up the sideline, first down Nevada.
Injured player for Fresno State on the plays, Claudel Lewis, the defensive end who came onto the field, and play will not resume until they can get him off the field.
Well, Nevada's looked for a catalyst on offense tonight, and they have one in Tyler Stewart. He's been really good on 3rd down tonight, finding the big receiver Hassan Henderson once or twice, and then he's also done it with his legs. Doing a great job getting the ball down the field, getting down in time, not taking the big hit, but he has really performed well, and he's still holding on to the ball. 12 of 17 on the evening, over 200 yards, a TD, and an interception.
They've got a 1st and 10 here after his latest scramble from the 40. He tucks it into James Butler. Nowhere to go with it. When Stewart takes off like that, does he look like any quarterbacks from years past here at Nevada?
You know, it's hard for me because when you watch the previous quarterbacks that have been in this program, Colin Kaepernick, Cody Fajardo, both are playing at the next level, of course. Kaepernick at the 49ers, and Cody Fajardo was a free agent with Oakland and then got cut and ended up going and playing in the CFL with the Toronto Argonauts. But he's not as polished as the other two, for sure.
To be expected. This is junior season. Run through the middle. Butler is off to the races. He's got the 20, the 10, and he scores. 59-yard touchdown run for James Butler.
That's a big play right there because that one breaks that Fresno State defense, and it breaks their will a little bit is what happens, because when you break the line of scrimmage and they caught him in blitz, they miss him in the backfield, and then it's James Butler who's having a fantastic year to the house for the Wolfpack.
Really stretching it out there, and the extra point makes it 30-16 in favor of Nevada. Butler going off for 59. His 5th rushing touchdown of the year may have sealed this one for the Wolfpack on the road. Two touchdowns, not out of reach just yet for Fresno State as the Bulldogs get set to go back on offense, but they're going to have to do something a little bit different than they've done on their 2 drives here in the second half. They've held the ball for a collective 2 minutes and 18 seconds and have gone 3 and out twice. They'll get the ball here to start their drive. 1st and 10 at the 25-yard line.
Yeah, they need to power up the offense.
Saturday, ESPN, 2 huge Big Ten games. 3:30 Eastern, number 9 Iowa takes on Indiana, which after a 4-0 start is now 4-4. Presented by Cars.com. And then 7th-ranked Michigan State takes on Nebraska in Lincoln at 7, presented by Hilton Hotels. You know, Connor Cook is great for Michigan State. He's my 2nd favorite Michigan State quarterback, behind Kirk Cousins. Mike Cousins, Tom Ramsey here with you in Fresno, California. A hair over 11 minutes to play, and the pass over the middle is incomplete, intended for Jameer Jordan.
And he had Jordan just for a moment. He had him breaking over the middle. If the ball's on his numbers, Jordan's probably still running. And, you know, right now we talked about the lack of time of possession. They had a power outage against Air Force. Well, before this game, but of course their last game, and then they had the bye week. But they had negative yards over 2 quarters of play against Air Force, and you just got to hit some balls down the field.
It's a 4-man rush. Anderson sidesteps, heaves long into coverage, intercepted. Damian Baber, the freshman from Palmdale, California, with the takeaway. It's his team leading 4th interception of the year.
So what happens, they do take a shot down the field, but the ball just comes out late. It just comes out remarkably late. He takes a shot by number 99, Corey Rush, and then Jordan has a chance to make a play on the ball, and he lets the defender just jump right by him and make the play. I mean, that was a fine play by Damian Baber.
And this defense making a stand. In the last 4 games coming into this one, they only allowed 1 touchdown and 13 points in the second half. Meanwhile, the offense productive in this second half. 3 drives have netted them 2 field goals and a touchdown on their last drive on that big run by James Butler. His counterpart, Don Jackson, goes through the middle. A first down, pickup of 11. And Jackson earlier in this game became the 15th player in Nevada history to go over 2,000 yards for his career. Kyrie Wilson coming up in not the best condition there. The senior inside linebacker for Fresno State hops off the field.
And this is where the Nevada offensive line is starting to exert some dominance. And I think because the Fresno State defense is on the field for so long of time that you know, listen, you get tired. You know, you got guys pounding on you. Nevada's doing a nice job mixing run and pass and making plays on 3rd down. And listen, credit Nick Rolovich. He's been dialing it up for Nevada tonight.
The Bulldogs stack the line. Jackson penetrates right through it and tumbles into Bulldog territory. Another explosive play from Jackson.
Yep, starting to gash him right now internally. Nathan Goldtree, Austin Corbett doing a nice job up front. They get a little trap, and boy, oh boy, Don Jackson does a nice job just following his blockers and getting up the field. That's a great high end zone look.
20 yards for Jackson to the 42. Into a mess of defenders, gains 3 yards.
You know, going back, Mike, you said earlier, you know, Nick Rolovich, if he had a fault of his own, the offensive coordinator, it was maybe he was a little too exotic in previous games. And tonight, you know, they kind of got back to basics. Not that they slimmed the play call sheet down, but I think he just kept the offense a little simpler and really back to their core competencies, which is really running the ball between the tackles. And I'm, you know, getting north-south right away. And then, you know, credit Tyler Stewart. He's had a nice game. He's been very efficient throwing the ball tonight.
Exactly where they want to be, on the ground, up the middle. Defense waiting for it that time. Todd Hunt wraps up to make the stop. But when you've got Jackson, you've got Butler, 2 guys combined who would be the 2nd best running back in the country by yards. That's where you've got to go. And when we say exotic, referring to the play calls, a lot of times what teams will do is run one thing to give a defense a look to start a game and then run a counter off of that play later to catch them off guard.
Yeah, and a lot of times you'll do many formations at the beginning of a game just to see how the defense plays you. And you know, here's the magic number. Anytime a team rushes for over 200 yards, you usually win the game. And tonight, they're at 214.
Lots of pressure. Adro Ederaine comes in with Claudel Lewis, and they quickly swallowed up Tyler Stewart. Forces a 4th down.
Ederaine with another tackle for loss. That's his 2nd tonight. He's awfully good off the edge. He could be a next level guy. I don't know if he's an outside linebacker so much as he could be a strong safety at the next level. That's where I kind of see a player like that. He's long, he can run, and he flies around and tags people.
6'2", 234 pounds. Under 8 minutes to play in the 4th quarter. A 2-touchdown lead for Nevada. Alex Boy with a high punt.
Not a good punt. That's going to benefit Fresno State.
The Bulldogs will have possession after the 21-yard punt. Trying to end a 3-game slide against Fresno State, up by 2 touchdowns. And don't forget, this week College Game Day, built by the Home Depot, heads back to Tuscaloosa, Alabama. The big matchup. Undefeated LSU, 7-1 Alabama, starting at 9 Eastern on ESPN, also streaming live on Watch ESPN. Well, a change at quarterback for Fresno State. Result not entirely different. It's the sophomore from Stockton, California, Zach Greenlee, into the game and onto the ground. The hands of Lenny Jones for a loss of 7.
Lenny Jones, Ian Seau, both defensive ends collapsing the pocket, and Jones really had leverage on the right tackle that time. Zach Greenlee coming in, and you know, it's a tough situation to come into when you're cold and you need 2 scores at the end of the game, but they need him in a hurry.
Playing in his 5th game this year, back to throw and a quick drop off. Malik Meisenheimer ahead to the 28-yard line. So Greenlee, in the quarterback story this year, fits in a unique spot. Chasen Virgil broke his clavicle against Utah. Ford Childress, an internal injury, knocked out for the year against San Jose State. Greenlee earlier this year was arrested for underage drinking, bringing Kilton Anderson into the picture. But Anderson, in this second half, in which Fresno State has yet to pick up a 1st down, was 0 for 4 with an interception. So here's Greenlee to try and save the day late in the 4th quarter. Under the rush, he stands tall, throws over the middle. Jordan makes the catch, and a late flag comes in at midfield. It stands as the first down of the half for the Bulldogs, and a gain of 24.
And I think at the end of the play, they're gonna flag Damian Baber for either a personal foul or a possible targeting, because he took a real good shot that time. And you know, listen, credit Greenlee. That's a heck of a throw right there. Splitting the 2 safeties.
Completed pass, personal foul, targeting, number 2, defense. 15-yard penalty, enforcing the end of the run. 1st down. The play is under review.
Asani Rufus, the redshirt freshman strong safety and the team's leading tackler, is the one they tag with the targeting call.
Oh, it sure was Rufus, and I misspoke. I thought it was Baber who came across, but Rufus is the one who actually lowered the crown of his helmet right onto the receiver's helmet. That it will be looked at up in the Mountain West Conference booth, and I'm sure they'll come away with keeping the foul in place.
And the foul here that he's being charged with targeting is leading with the crown of his helmet against a defenseless receiver, which leads to an ejection if the penalty is upheld. And it being here in the second half of this game would also mean he'd miss time in their next game as well, should the ejection stand.
Yep, it is a carry forward penalty, and it's an unfortunate one, but you know, it's the only way to make sure you keep the integrity and the safety of the game intact.
We've seen a lot of times this year where these calls can be somewhat difficult to judge as to whether a tackle was made leading with the shoulder, or the other part of this rule says, is it forcible contact to the head or neck area? That's not the part of the rule in question here. It's leading with the crown of the helmet. And the rule says when in question, it is a foul. Although upon viewing this, you take one look at it and it becomes pretty evident what the outcome will be.
Yeah, and you know, the game is played at such a fast level. I think it comes down to intent too. You know, players know, I mean.
But that's not part of the rule.
No, it's not. No, Asani Rufus, you know, he's the #1 tackler of the Wolfpack defense. So he's in on a lot of tackles. And listen, guys' heads get in the way sometimes, but that is a play where I think the referee's really close to the action. You know, the receiver's in a very vulnerable position right there, and he gets clocked right in the helmet. And he's hit. The first thing that hits the receiver is the crown of Rufus's helmet. So that's why the flag came out.
So Alan Eck, our official, talking with the replay official David
After
Dumas.
review, the ruling of targeting is confirmed. Number 2 is disqualified.
One change that they made to the rule this year was they did not announce the disqualification prior to the automatic replay review of the play. This year, that announcement comes after the review. So Rufus out for the remainder of this game, 6 minutes and 9 seconds, and the first half of the upcoming game for Nevada as well. And that'll be against San Jose State with a very stout rushing offense and Tyler Irvin. Meanwhile, it's Greenlee back to work, and his throw finds Delvon Hardaway, the sophomore from Los Angeles.
And Teray Calloway comes in for the departed Rufus.
First down for the Bulldogs at the 21.
Calloway, the sophomore from Seattle. Greenlee against an empty backfield, swings it out to the perimeter. It's Meisenheimer with his 3rd catch of the game. And a flag comes in late as he goes inside the 15-yard line. Damian Baber coming over at the end of that play.
At the 13-yard line.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 23, defense. Half the distance to the goal, and an automatic first down.
All right, this is just undisciplined football. Really, I mean, Meisenheimer gets tackled, he's out of bounds, and then he just gets drilled in the back by Baber. I mean, that's just an irresponsible foul, that right there. I mean, boy, your teammate just gets thrown out of the game, and then you come in and lead with hitting the guy when he's down.
Greenlee going end zone. There's a flag down, but the signal is a touchdown for Josiah Blandon. A score would make it a 1-touchdown game, but the flag has the penalty to nullify that. Or the power for the penalty to nullify that.
Personal foul, chop block with number 75 and number 54, offense. 15-yard penalty, replay, first down.
They called a chop block. I believe it's Vasquez, number 75, Jacob Vasquez, the right guard and the right tackle. If you're engaged, if the right guard is engaged with a defensive end, the right tackle cannot come down and hit him, and that's what happened. He hit him below the waist, and flag came right out.
So it wipes off the touchdown. Now Greenlee is taking off. Tiptoes the sideline, throws, and it's incomplete. A nice job to keep the play alive and targeting Michael Martins, who's still looking for his first career catch.
Boy, Greenlee kept the play alive right there. Zach Greenlee, he had to outrun a defender and get to the sideline, and then he somehow stayed in bounds and was able to almost make a play down the field. I think right now you're 2nd and 22. You got to go 4 downs here to get It's to the goal line of it's.
He steps up in the pocket, now tucks the football toward the sideline, just trying to buy time for a throw. He's got a completion. He's got a touchdown for Delvon Hardaway.
And I think Delvon Hardaway stepped out of bounds on his own and did not get pushed out of bounds. I think the referees are right on it on the sideline.
We see another hat come off. It's the second time we've seen that in this game.
Illegal touching, number 6 offense. The receiver went out of bounds on his own, returned inbounds. It was the first player to touch the pass. Lost it down at the previous spot.
So it's an illegal touch, Mike. It's a loss of down. Here's what happens. Just because, watch Delvon Hardaway, he steps out of bounds. He does not get pushed out of bounds. So right there, he declares himself an ineligible receiver. He can't come back in. He can't be the first one to touch the ball here. And sure enough, he catches it, runs in the end zone. Everyone wants a touchdown, but it's a loss of down. And now you got 3rd down and goal to goal at the 22.
For Anderson, the quarterback, who led them to one of their 2 wins this year. A short throw across the middle is dropped by Jordan, the team's leading receiver. Now 4th down, 22 yards, and you got to go for it here. 4th and goal at the 22.
Malik Meisenheimer was out in front too. He had a block. You know, they had 7 drops a week ago. That wasn't a clean last 3 plays at all, but now you have to throw it into the end zone. You got to go 3 receivers one side, you got to throw it up, and it's a jump ball into the end zone.
The defense backing up, ready to play that goal line. Still a 4-man rush in the Wolfpack. Greenlee eyeing the end zone, heaves, and that pass is taken away. Damian Baber, who was flagged earlier on the drive, comes up with his 2nd interception, and that should just about seal it for Nevada.
I don't think Greenlee really gave his receivers a chance. The ball was kind of a flatly thrown ball.
On a line, he's trying to move out of the pocket, and a last chance heave by Greenlee is taken away at the goal line. Oh, a great defensive streak lives on for this Nevada defense. Now going to try and make it 5 straight games where they've only allowed 1 touchdown in the second half. Total 13 points. They take over after an interception back at the 1-yard line.
Well, and ball security is imperative here, coming off your own goal line. James Butler, 2 hands on the ball, bringing it out of the end zone. Fresno State might even want to consider calling a timeout here if they make a stop on this next play.
Just as a chance with some time on the clock to get the ball back.
Sure. They got a safety. Oh.
No, forward progress gets the ball out to the 1-yard line there.
Well, I don't know about the forward progress. Jeff Camille hit the ball carrier at the goal line and drove him back. Camille from the inside linebacker spot. I mean, he jars him. He might have gotten the foot out.
It's 3rd down, timeout.
Butler just gets the ball across the point of the goal line to help avoid that safety. And exactly as you predicted, it's a timeout by Fresno State to stop the clock.
Yeah, it's a good
bring
use.
Up a 3rd down and 10.
Yeah, it's a good use of a timeout because now you've jarred them a little bit. They got to think about this one because you hope they throw it if you're Fresno State, but I think they have to keep it on the ground, Mike, and just get at least 5 yards, give your punter a little bit of room. But if they don't get any yards on this play, you know, I think what Brian Polian does, I bet you he takes a safety. I bet you he takes a safety and kicks it away because you sure don't want to risk getting your punt blocked in the end zone and then you give up a touchdown. then this is one of those, you know, what would Bill Belichick do? That's what, right?
Well, Polian has been tutored under some great coaches: Charlie Weiss, Jim Harbaugh, David Shaw at Stanford, Kevin Sumlin.
How about Nick Saban? He was a GA at Michigan State under Saban.
They do free up some space there to about the 8.5-yard line on 4th down for their Ray Guy Award candidate punter Alex Boyd. Another timeout for Fresno
Please
State.
set the game clock to 3:54. 3:54.
Well, they did buy themselves some room there for sure off their own goal line.
They'll kick it away here, and Boyd in that running for the nation's top punter. They'll narrow it down to 10 semifinalists coming up next Friday for the Ray Guy Award. Nice night for James Butler, one of the 2 running backs for Nevada. 16 carries for 106 yards, and it's the 6th time that he's gone over 100 yards in his career, 5th time this season. Nevada with a win would go to 5-4 and 3-2 in the Mountain West.
Yeah, you know, just my observation of Fresno State on the sideline, their offensive line, they're going to get the ball back in about 10 seconds, and they're not even standing up ready to go.
Starting position 45 after the 5-yard return from Damari Scott. Fresno State being held down here in the second half. This Nevada defense especially good after halftime.
Yeah, you know what? They've been good almost the entire game. They made some opportune plays when they needed to by some of their veteran leaders on the team. And I think Fresno State played into the hands of their defense as well. But listen, credit the defensive line. They came after Fresno State all night long, and they're still coming after them.
Greenlee still in at quarterback, and a nice throw on 1st down. It's Keyshawn Johnson. A pickup of a baker's dozen and a 1st down. Closing in on 3.5 minutes here in the 4th quarter.
And you can't even waste precious seconds here. You got to get up to the line, have another play called, and I mean, get the ball, get a couple big chunks of yards right now.
4-man rush, and it gets to him. He turns the corner, fires downfield, and he's intercepted again. Baber has his 3rd interception of the night, his 6th of the season, and a poor decision puts Fresno State out of it.
Well, and Nevada appears they're in line here to win 2 consecutive games, the first time in over a year. So Brian Polian, I'm sure this one, Greenlee just to say it's not a good throw is being nice. I mean, it's not even near the receiver.
His Wolfpack defense has had 8 interceptions the last 2 games, a number that was bolstered playing Hawaii. They had forced 4 turnovers against what is the least proficient team in the Mountain West this year.
Yeah, listen, Nevada, when you look at their upcoming schedule, right, they run into a little bit of a buzzsaw, right? They play
San Jose State and Tyler Irvin.
They play Utah State at Utah State after they host San Jose State, and then they go to San Diego State. So they're going to go play the Aztecs, who are undefeated right now, and on a big roll.
And that's not going to be easy.
No.
1st down carry is for Jackson. And we talked about this, how the Mountain West this year has not been a conference of quarterbacks as maybe it has been in years past. No. But especially running backs. Donnell Pumphrey at San Diego State and Tyler Irvin at San Jose State.
Well, and Rocky Long said that at the beginning of the year, I believe, at the Mountain West Conference Media Day. He said, listen, we've had quarterbacks. It's been a quarterback conference in the past. It's not this year. And he knew how good Pumphrey was, too. I think Rocky Long knew he had a great running back. I think they all did. Ron Carragher at San Jose State knew he had Irvin.
Jackson gets a breakaway. Defender closing in, and a Fournette-like stiff arm to keep Shannon Edwards at bay, and this offense just keeps on moving even late in the game, trying to run out the clock.
Offensive line of Nevada getting physical, putting hats on defenders, and watch the stiff arm. Get off me.
62 yards.
Good chunk of yards right there.
279 rushing yards on the night. And that's 40 more than the Fresno State average, which ranks 118th in the country.
Well, yeah, this was an important game.
NBA tonight, coming up next here on ESPN2. Doug Kazarian and Brad Daugherty. Early in the NBA season, but certainly lots to talk about after we are done here from Fresno, California. And you know, this defense is on the field quite a good bit this year. Nick Toth, the defensive coordinator for the Bulldogs, says, look, we're on the field just about as much as we have been over the last few years. The only difference is our offense is getting off the field quickly, but they're not scoring because it's not the same playmaker, especially at quarterback. Butler takes it left. He's got room inside the 10 and is dragged down there.
Yeah, when you're down, when you're playing 4 quarterbacks during the course of a year, and especially if you're playing them by mid-season, which Fresno State has been doing, there's some challenges that face the team. And you know, even though they've been high-spirited and gone out to practice and done a great job, tonight the wind fell out of their sails.
Under a minute remains here in the 4th quarter. And the Wolfpack calls off the Dogs here inside the 10 in a half where they had 270 rushing yards, and that's just in the 3rd and 4th quarters. What a night. So Nevada with the win tonight goes to 3-2 in the Mountain West Division. They've got San Jose State to come, and then San Diego State as well. Still a lot remains in their hands. With a win here, they pick up back-to-back wins for the first time since October 25th and November 1st of last year. And the first win for their senior class against Fresno State as they snap a 3-game slide against the Bulldogs.
Yeah, Fresno State, you know, they had done a good job for 3 years, but time ran out on Tim DeRuyter and his Bulldog team tonight.
So it's 30-16 in favor of Nevada. For our entire crew, my partner Tom Ramsey, I'm Mike Cousins. We say thanks so much for joining us here from Fresno, California. Coming up next on ESPN2, NBA Tonight, Doug Kazarian and Brad Daugherty.